Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a weekly television show called Team Chicago Champs. Our website is teamchicago.tv, teamchicago.tv. The next 10 or 12 minutes, I'm going to try to show you something really great. Doc is the second flying B-29 in the country. They invited me inside to look at the cockpit and look at this beautiful aircraft that was salvaged out of the desert. It's a great story. So we're going to look at Doc, we're going to look inside Doc, we're going to look around and meet some of the other people right here at the EAA AirVenture, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and my website is teamchicago.tv. We started the day by catching a bus at the museum. This museum, the EAA Museum, is a great museum. They have a flying replica of the Wright Flyer and a great number of very important aircraft right here. So if you're ever in the Oshkosh, Wisconsin area, you have to make plans to stop at the EAA Museum. There was over 867 exhibitors showing 2,979 aircraft and related aviation equipment. In the drone cage, I had the opportunity to meet Chris Knight with the Drone Media Group.
Aircraft sells about 7,000 hours. You can get this one up to 9,000 hours or so with the additional licenses. It has the Apple ProRes license for 4K cinematics. If you want to run 4K video, you can do that. And then they also have a signed SSD to it, so that you can record it. This one will actually record video up to 4 gigabits per second, which is insane. Now, normally it's about 100 or so megabits per second. 4S sensor, and they make an X7 sensor. This is the X5S, which means that the X5S sensor has a micro four thirds 1.33 inch sensor, which means it has crop factor. So that means that this lens in here is a 12 millimeter lens. It actually has an effective focal length of 24 millimeters because it's crop factor, so you double it. So you can put different lenses on. You can put a 45 millimeter lens on. You can put a 12, you use 25 millimeters. You can put different lenses on. You guys have questions over here? Oh yeah. All right, so
Thank you, Chris, for the demonstration. Now let's go back to last year, 2017, as we see Fifi warming up her engines, and then we see Fifi taking off from Whitman Field. This B-29 is maintained and owned by the Commemorative Air Force. They acquired this airplane in the desert back in the 1970s. And now we see Doc taking off. Another B-29 that was salvaged from the desert. Testimony to the hundreds of folks and the thousands of hours spent. The good people of Wichita, Kansas restored Doc. Now we get to see this aircraft flying over Whitman Field. As we see Fifi flying overhead, I should point out that the first B-29 flew September 21st, 1942. Over 1,600 B-29s were built in Wichita, Kansas. Over 3,000 B-29s were built overall. And now we get to see Doc flying by as the folks at the EAA AirVenture cheer this great aircraft. In 2017, there was 14 B-25s also flying at a lower altitude. They were replicating the Doolittle raid over Tokyo. After December 7, 1941, it took 130 days for us to respond by attacking Tokyo. 16 B-25s were put on an aircraft carrier taken within 400 miles of Tokyo, and they attacked Tokyo. 133 days after Pearl Harbor. As we see Fifi coming over one more time, a total of 3,970 B-29s were built between 1943 and 1946. The cost back then was $639,000 per unit. Now we get to see Devil Dog. Devil Dog is a United States Marine Corps PBJ. It is based on B-25. It does not have the top gunner position. This aircraft is one of the hundreds of warbirds that are maintained and flown by the Commemorative Air Force. Doc was found in the Mojave Desert in 1987, and tens of thousands of folks and hours were needed to restore this beautiful B-29. As we continue to watch a few more of these B-25s flying over the sight, the sound, what a wonderful day to be at the EAA AirVenture in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We get to see Fifi one more time flying overhead. What a sight. B-25s at a low altitude, B-29s flying overhead. It was a great day in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And Doc looks great, glistening in the sun over Whitman Field, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, on this beautiful July day. As we see Doc on the ground, shutting down her 4 18-cylinder radial engines. I should point out, from the time Doc was discovered in the Mojave Desert in '87, with the help of thousands of volunteers and tens of thousands of hours, she first flew on July 17, 2016. Doc is a beautiful aircraft, and fortunate for me, I had the chance to talk to Frank Barry, the historian with Doc, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about this Boeing-built B-29 Superfortress.
I'm Frank Barry. I'm with Doc, the B-29 here at Oshkosh this year. I'm kind of Doc's historian. Doc was built December of 1944 and was delivered to the Army Air Corps March of '45. He spent his career here in the United States doing radar calibration and special missions and training. And he joined a radar training squadron of 9 aircraft called the Snow White Squadron. Snow White, the 7 Dwarfs, and the Wicked Witch, so that's where he got his name. So in 1956, they took all of the B-29s, they took them out to the desert outside of in China Lake, outside of LA, and they used them as target drones for the Navy. So for the next 40 plus years, he sat out in the desert and was shot at. Fortunately, the Navy missed, and so in the year 2000, we got him on 7 semis out of the desert back to Wichita. We spent the next 16 years putting him back together, putting him back into flight status. So 16, we got him back in the air, and here we are at AirVenture 2018 for the second time, and so we're glad to be here. Just 2 B-29s flying, Doc and Fifi. There's about 24 airframes left worldwide that exist, and none of those are considered restorable. All volunteers, more than 400,000 man-hours to restore it. 150 volunteers or more in the 16 years. We've got a crew of 6 that flies all the time with it. We've got a volunteer base of 20 or 30 currently that help maintain and fly the airplane. B-29 Doc is the website. You can find it on the web, and our schedule's on there. We've got lots of information about the airplane. Donate. You can buy a brick to honor a veteran. Our hangar is under construction, so if you want to help donate for that project, our education center, so you can look us up on the internet.
Thank you, Frank. As we look inside the bomb bay of Doc, this B-29 Superfortress, we get to see the tunnel. This is the tunnel that runs above the bomb bay for crew members to slide from the cockpit to the tail section of this B-29. As you look at the interior, we can see the pilot and co-pilot positions offer a great amount of vision forward and above and below. In the front is the position for the bombardier, the position for the flight engineer. This is a pressurized cabin, so this aircraft could fly at very high altitude, and the crew members were not freezing, which was the condition flying the B-17s. Look at the craftsmanship. Look how great the interior of this airplane looks. Those folks in Wichita, Kansas, who were involved with restoring this aircraft took very special care restoring Doc, as we see this map of Japan. In 2017, I produced an additional TV show about the value of vintage aircraft. I am now going to present the clip that I put together about Doc. This aircraft back to Wichita, Kansas, where it was originally built. The B-29, or the Superfortress, flew its maiden flight September 21st in 1942. This aircraft, Doc, was built in March of 1945 in Wichita. A total of 1,644 B-29s were built during World War II in Wichita. After 16 years of restoration and a total of 350,000 volunteer hours to get this aircraft flying. At $10 per hour, that cost would be $3,500,000. But to look at a real cost, at $50 per hour, the labor to put this aircraft back together is really $17,500,000. So what is the value of a flying B-29? Yes, Doc was the star again in 2018 on Boeing Plaza, and I am so happy I had the opportunity to talk to someone and take a close look at this great airplane. As I look around the plaza, I notice a Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt, also known as a Warthog. This aircraft has a red devil painted on its side, and it has the 3 white stripes, which are also known as the D-Day stripes. On the nose of this aircraft, I spotted a General Electric GAU EAA AirVenture. It's a 30mm hydraulically driven 7-barrel Gatling type cannon. As we see the shell for this 30mm cannon. This is a twin-engine aircraft, and it has a titanium tub to protect the pilot. The Red Devil on this aircraft is the insignia of the 107th Fighter Squadron. This squadron is based out of Selfridge Air Base in Michigan. In World War I, Captain Benjamin Forloy established the policy of insignias on aerial units, declaring that each squadron would have an official insignia painted on the middle of each side of the aircraft. Pilots were trained in suffrage with the Curtiss JN-4D, and this is the 100th anniversary of World War I. The 107th Fighter Squadron was involved on D-Day. On June 6, 1944, every Allied aircraft was painted with 3 stripes on the wings and 3 stripes on the body. In Gulf War I, after the Iraqis surrendered in Kuwait, they tried to illegally remove their equipment from Kuwait and take it back to Iraq. The A-10 was the aircraft that destroyed their military equipment on the famous Highway 80 in Kuwait. Above the plaza, we get to see the Aero Shell team. The flyers in this team include Jimmy Forum, Mark Hanley, Steve Gustafson, and Ryan Reagan. They are flying the North American A-10 Texan. This aircraft has the nickname of the pilot maker. It trained many, many pilots starting during World War II. It's got a Pratt & Whitney engine. The wingspan is 42 feet. Let's watch this show performed by these 4 gentlemen on the Shell Aero team. Thank you, gentlemen. And on the plaza, I spot this Gloster Meteor. This is a very historic aircraft. This aircraft, the Meteor, first flew in 1943. Yes, the British did have an operating jet during World War II. This aircraft was used to shoot down B-29 flying bombs. It did see a little action over France as we look into this jet engine. 2 jet engines on this aircraft. And I should point out, in 1945, after the war, the Meteor F-3 went 606 miles an hour, and then the F-4 model reached the speeds of 616 miles an hour. This is the only flying Gloster Meteor in the world, and here it is on the Boeing Plaza, Whitman Field in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I wish I had the opportunity to talk to someone about this famous and important aircraft. We are now looking at an Air Wisconsin National Guard F-16 Fighting Falcon. This is a supersonic multi-role fighter that was first built in 1976, and over 4,500 of these aircraft have been built. Next, we're looking at a B-1 bomber. The B-1 bomber is called the Lancer or the Bone. It's a supersonic, veritable wing heavy bomber used exclusively by the United States Air Force. It was built by Rockwell International, and the original B-1A was designed to fly at 2.2 Mach at high altitude, and now the B-1B, with its advanced electronics, can now fly at very low altitude at 0.96 Mach. As we look at the two bomb bays in this aircraft, it has a great payload. It could carry a couple semi-trucks in its bomb bay. This aircraft should be in service to the United States all the way through 2036. For more information on the Experimental Aircraft Association, their websites are EAA.org, AirVenture.org, and make plans to join us in 2019, July 22nd through 28th in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. To contact me, it's teamdan45@gmail.com. You can search on YouTube for more clips with Dan Schmitt motorcycle racing or Dan Schmitt politics.